Hello and welcome to the programme. First, a US congressional committee has released 6 years of tax returns for the former President Donald Trump. Trump battled for years to keep the documents secret until the Supreme Court approved their disclosure last month. The newly released documents include tax returns and related documents for Donald Trump, the Donald J. Trump Revocable Trust, and 7 corporate entities. But that represents only a fraction of the more than 400 businesses in which Trump has an interest. Well, this is what the tax returns, which have been made public, show. They cover personal and business federal returns over 6 years, from 2015 to 2020. In 2015, the adjusted gross income reports a loss, which experts say is due to losses carried forwards from previous years. He paid just under $642,000 in taxes. In 2016, when he was campaigning for the White House, and in 2017, first year of his presidency, he paid just $750 in taxes in both years. 2018, the tax payment was just under $1 million. That fell sharply in 2019 to $133,000. And in the last year of his presidency, Trump paid a net zero in federal taxes. Well, none of this suggests any wrongdoing, and US accountancy rules can be very complicated. It is a matter of choice for a president if they want to make their tax records public, although Trump was the first person elected to the White House not to do so for nearly 50 years. Here's the statement Mr. Trump released a few hours ago.
Although these tax returns contain relatively little information and not information that almost anybody would understand, they're extremely complex. The radical Democrats' behavior is a shame upon the U.S. Congress.
Well, let's speak now to Rina Shah, geopolitical risk advisor, former senior aide to 2 Republican members of Congress. She's live for us in Washington, D.C. Thanks very much for coming on the programme.
Hello there. Good evening.
So you've seen, like we have, these tax returns now. What do you make of them?
It's been quite a day in Washington. And even if you spent all day pouring through the information that was released by this committee of Trump's tax returns and the records that tell us about his financial situation from 2015 to 2021. We learned quite a bit. But again, it's a lot more to pour over and go through. So it's going to be a while until we really can draw some better conclusions. But there are some standout details, one of them being in that he promised to donate his presidential salary, yet he gave no charitable contributions in the year 2020. That was a really big one. And another really big one that stuck out to me was that he had a bank account in China while he was the occupant of the White House. That's also quite jarring. So expect more of these revelations to come out, again, as these records are analyzed.
That's really interesting. An interesting couple of details that you picked out. The headline, of course, that most people will respond to is the idea that he didn't pay any federal taxes in one year and very little the others. What do you think that tells us, and what do you think the impact of that will be?
Well, I've been talking to a number of Republicans today, those who still support President Trump to this day, others who are lukewarm about him and really don't want to actually see him be the party nominee in 2024, despite him already having announced it, that he will run. So there is a bit of a mixed bag. But the conclusion I'm drawing is this, is how much will this really matter? Do people really care that he didn't pay his taxes? And the people they're talking about is the Republican base. What I'm hearing today in conversations is something as I expected, is that he's a job creator. Of course, he's going to use loopholes in our tax code to avoid paying too much money so that he can retain some of his wealth and grow it, and so that he continue creating jobs. That is a large narrative that I think the Republicans that still support Trump will continue to press on, is that he is a job creator and innovator, and therefore he doesn't need to pay this large share, and took advantage of our system to his benefit, to therefore benefit the public somehow.
Is there, an example there is, should lawmakers do more to actually try and close any loopholes is a strongly loaded word, so I'll stay away from that, but any methods that people use. We interviewed just a couple of hours ago one congressman who said, actually, we do need to do a better job as lawmakers here.
Well, funny enough, President Trump, when he was running for the White House for the first time in 2016, famously talked about how our tax code is too complicated here in the United States, and that he wanted to simplify it so that Americans could file their taxes on something of the size of a postcard. That never got done in his term in the White House. So it's quite funny that we're coming to this moment where really somebody should ask him, hey, President Trump, it seems like that really complicated tax code benefited you and helped you enrich yourself, your family, and your many business interests. I think in general, there is a sense here that this could also hit on something that I've actually heard over the years, this growing chorus of younger conservatives, younger members of the Republican Party who are frustrated about really wealthy Americans not paying enough. And that's funny because it's a notion that's been held by the left for a very long time. But again, I've been hearing it in younger Republican circles, is that supposed billionaires and those who actually prove that they're billionaires on paper should be paying a greater sum. And if you look at what these records show, President Trump probably should have paid more, but again, took advantage of what we have on the books here.
Interesting stuff. Rina Shah, thank you very much for picking out some of the details there, and great to have you on. Thank you.
Certainly. Good night.